The Linux kernel was created by Linus Torvalds, following the lack of a working kernel for GNU, a Unix-compatible operating system made entirely of free software that had been in development since 90 Melee Free by the GNU project, led by Richard Stallman. A working Unix system called Minix was later released, but its license was not entirely free at the time, and it was made for educational purposes. The first entirely free Unix for personal computers, 3886BSD, did not appear until 1992, by which time Torvalds had already built and publicly released the first version of the Linux kernel on the internet. Like GNU and 3886BSD, Linux did not have any Unix code, being a fresh re-implementation and therefore avoided legal issues from AT&T. Linux distributions became popular in the 1990s and made Unix technologies accessible to home users on personal computers, whereas previously they had been confined to sophisticated workstations.
Desktop Linux distributions include a windowing system such as the GNs, or Wayland in a desktop environment such as KDE Plasma, GNOME, or Xfce. Distributions intended for servers may not have a graphical user interface at all, or may include a solution stack such as
The source code of Linux may be used, modified, and distributed commercially or non-commercially by anyone under the terms of its respective licenses, such as the GNU General Public License. The license means creating novel distributions is permitted by anyone and is easier than it would be for an operating system such as macOS or Microsoft Windows. The Linux kernel, for example, is licensed under the GPL-v2 with an exception for system calls that allows code that calls the kernel through system calls not to be licensed under the GPL.
because of the dominance of Linux-based Android on smartphones works, including Android, had the largest installed base of all general purpose operating systems as of May 22. As of March 2024, Linux was used by around 4% of desktop computers. The Chromebook, which rolls the Linux kernel-based use, dominates the US K-12 education market,
and represents nearly 20% of SEP3 hardware laptop sales in the US. Linux is the leading operating system on servers, with over 96.4% of the top 1 million web servers running Linux. It also leads other large-scale systems such as mainframe computers,
and is used on all of the world's 500 fastest supercomputers as of November 2017, having gradually displaced all competitors.
Linux also runs on embedded systems, meaning devices whose operating system is typically built into the firmware and highly tailored to the system. This includes drawers, automation controls, smart home devices, video game consoles, televisions such as Samsung and LG smart TVs, automobiles from companies such as Tesla, Audi, Mercedes-Benz, Hyundai, and Toyota, and spacecraft such as the Falcon 9 rocket, Dragon Crew capsule, and Ingenuity Mars